Welcome back. It's a brand new week of trade, a truncated one at that, and it's time to drill down to individual stocks because the SGX Nifty is suggesting an absolutely flat start. Our entire research team is standing by. This is CNBC-TV18's list of top stocks for the day. Mankalam, first up, you're looking at ICICI Securities and HDFC Life.
That's correct. You know, for ICICI Securities, we were all wondering why is it that the stock has rallied about 8% on Friday itself, and most of the gains came by in the last hour. And now we do know that post-market close, there was a notification coming in that the board of the company is meeting on June 29th, which is Thursday this week, to consider delisting of shares. And that's interesting, largely because, one, the stock has been rallying recently. It's just about 2.5% from its 52-week high. The promoter of the company holds close to 75% stake. For the delisting to go through, you'll have to have majority of the minority shareholders go ahead and pass that. And you have, in the public shareholding itself, the public holds 25%. And in that, what LIC and government pension fund do is extremely crucial. LIC holds about 2.6% stake. The government pension fund holds about 3.1% stake. For the company to go ahead with the delisting, first we'll have to have the board approval, and then the due process will take course. After an 8% rally, I believe that the stock will continue to rally today, mainly because of this delisting news. The other one that I'm watching out for is HDFC Life, and that's because they've received a 940 crore GST demand notice for July 2017 to March 2022. They've deposited about 250 crores against this, and they are saying that they will legally challenge this 940 crore notice. Now, the stock has been on an upward momentum over the last few trading sessions. So, basis this, if there is a bit of a decline, maybe some stronger hands would enter at lower levels. So, we'll watch out for that.
Thank you very much for that. I'm also watching Apollo Tyres today because over the weekend, the company held their investor or corporate day. They also took a lot of analysts to their new Andhra Pradesh facility or plant. So at the corporate day, the company has reiterated its Vision 2026 guidance, which is a revenue of $5 billion by FY26. Last year, they ended with $3.1 billion. So they are looking at about a 17% revenue growth from FY23 to FY24. They also reiterated that margins will improve. Last year, margins were at 13.5%. They're saying it will be more than 15%. They reiterated ROCE targets of 12 to 15%, and the fact that the net debt to equity will continue to remain under 2x. The margin levers highlighted by the company include stronger growth in the passenger vehicle segment, where profitability is higher, premiumization in industry in terms of sale of higher rim size, market share gains in the premium passenger vehicles category. Of the Andhra Pradesh plant or the facility that analysts visited, it's operating at near utilization, but there is scope to improve the capacity by 3x in the near future. So the company did indicate till FY25, they're comfortable in terms of the capacity. There was a Nomura report which also went on to say what the company told them in terms of the demand environment. They're saying the near-term demand is healthy in the truck bus radial segment, but it's weak in the passenger car radial. They expect volumes to grow by high single digits in India this year, but exports will remain a bit subdued. EU exports could be flat this year. So that's what Apollo Tyres had to tell analysts over the weekend.
All right, Rima, thanks for that. Well, more stocks with news flow. Sonal is here with that list. Sonal, hi, morning.
Good morning, Prashant. Let me start with Godrej Properties. Now, last week, company had announced acquisition of a Kolkata land. This time, they've gone ahead and bought a land parcel in Gurugram, which is approximately 15 acres. And here as well, they plan to develop premium residential apartments. So that stock is in focus again. We have Chalet Hotels because they have a board meet on July 3rd to consider fundraising. There would be a lot of fundraising options where they would also be looking at refinancing their high-cost debt and raising further funds from the promoters of the company for one of their project. So that stock is in focus. RVNL has emerged as the lowest bidder from Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation Limited, and the project cost is around 395 crore rupees. So that stock also continues to be on our radar.
Thanks a lot for that. So now, let's hop across to Vivek. He's tracking a couple of pharma-related names. Vivek?
Well, good morning. A couple of pharma stocks on the radar. First on our list, Ipca Labs, the regulatory concerns, especially from US FDA, continue for this company. So two developments over here. US FDA actually inspected the company's Pithampur facility from June 15 to June 23rd, and they then issued a Form 483 with 8 observations, a slightly higher number. Along with that, CNBC-TV18 also managed to access the Ratlam facilities US FDA Form 483 that was issued. Remember, they had 11 observations from this particular inspection, and this particular inspection was conducted from June 5th to June 13th. Among some of the key observations which are slightly concerning, concerning, non-identification of root cause for failures. It does not appear as though, Ipca could come out of its regulatory overhang quite soon. The key thing to watch out for Ipca, remember, 3 of the key facilities, the Piparia, Pithampur as well as Ratlam facilities, continue to stay under an import alert since 2015. The other pharma stock on our radar, Zydus Life Sciences. What's actually happened is the company's subsidiary, Zydus Animal Health, has acquired 6.5% stake in MyLab Discovery Solutions. This particular acquisition was done from Rising Sun Holdings, a company backed by Adar Poonawalla. They've invested 106 crore, which values the company at close to 1,631 crore. This particular acquisition marks the entry of Zydus into the diagnostic space.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Vivek. Let's, go across to Nimesh now, who's standing by with block deals data. I mean, that's been the theme in the market for the last many weeks. Nimesh, what do you have? Good morning.
Hi, morning, Vishant. So first is landmark cars. As expected, some large marquee names have bought into the Friday's block. So 3M India Fund managed by Prashant Jain, he was a big buyer. Abacus Asset Management backed by Sunil Singhania, they were large buyers. Unify Capital, some domestic mutual funds including Bandhan Mutual Fund, Nippon AMC, ICICI Pru Life and Goldman Mutual Fund, they were large buyers in landmark cars. The stock was up 8%, but it looks like the momentum may continue in today's trade as well. So that's the first one. The second was Sterling and Wilson. We did report about Paology family members selling out. So that's a confirmation. They sold 1% stake. In terms of buyers, BNP Paribas Arbitrage Fund was a large buyer in the block deal, and other names like Setu Securities and Shastra Advisors were other buyers as well. So these two names both will be in focus, landmark cars as well as Sterling and Wilson.
Okay, all right, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. Well, here's a quick recap of all the top stocks that we need to focus on. Stocks with positive news flow include Apollo Tyres, ICICI Securities, Godrej Properties, Chalet Hotels, RVNL, Zydus Life Sciences, Landmark Cars and Sterling and Wilson. Well, a couple of stocks reacting to negative news flow include HDFC Life and Ipca Laboratories. Well, that's all the stocks you need to focus on, but let's get in Vivek back on. He's going to run us through some brokerage notes for the day. Vivek?
Well, good morning. A couple of key stocks to keep on your radar. One positive and one negative. So let's start with SBI Card. Nomura has come out with a very interesting note on the company. They've downgraded the stock to a reduced rating, and they've cut the target price quite sharply. Target price has been cut to 700 from 1,030 that they had earlier. What they're saying is that in this particular business, profitability continues to remain under pressure. Also, what they're saying is that the credit card industry growth is moderating, and more importantly, SBI Card continues to lose market share. What they're saying, the stretched valuation that the company is trading at currently 5.5 times book value 1 year forward, and almost 26 times price to earnings is something that does not leave any scope for error as far as execution is concerned for SBI Cards. But, on the other hand, when you're talking about property stocks, Jefferies, in fact, is quite positive. They have their top picks as Godrej Properties and Lodha. What they're saying is that data that they have analyzed from property consultants, as well as continued, high housing market activity levels that, the real estate market is quite strong. Residential pre-sale momentum is continuing well into the first quarter of FY24. Inventory is still quite low, and that is what is driving double-digit price gains across cities. So what they're saying is that most of the players that have given a 10 to 20% pre-sales guidance, they should be able to achieve it quite comfortably.
Thank you very much for that. That sums up our individual stock, the news flow that we've got in individual stocks. Let's talk about commodities. Manisha Gupta joins in as always. Manisha.
Thank you so much for that. I'll start with the crude oil prices, where we have seen some strength return in Asia right now. We did see 4% of decline for the crude prices in the previous week, but the support comes in from the fact that Russia's brief rebellion by the private military group is something that is impacting the supply disruption sentiments around the world. Remember, Asia, especially India, has been importing record amount of crude from Russia, so we have seen that premium come in for the Asian markets as well. Not so much for the metals as a sector, because the weak PMI data that we have seen come in sense of manufacturing and services from the major developed economies is what's weighing onto the market. The data has been on the weaker side, and the street is awaiting more stimulus coming in from China. Until that happens, we are looking at a range continuing in case of crude oil prices. But a sharp decline is what we are working with in sense of the gold prices. We have seen a 3-month low of $1,910 per ounce in the gold prices. For the Indian markets, the prices declined all the way down to almost at 58,000 rupees a 10 grams. That has been nearly 9% of a decline from an all-time highs that the gold price has hit in this year itself.
All right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. oil and gold. Well, we'll keep an eye on commodities as well with Manisha later as well. We'll take a very quick break here. Prakash Devan will be joining in for some fundamental stock talk. Later, we'll connect with the management of Idea Forge Technology to talk about expectations from their IPO that opens today. Stay tuned for that conversation as well.